everybody, welcome to my channel, The Healing Heart. I'm Calgan, you're you, and let's go through this together. And today I have a story here from a guy who's written in and about his breakup, and apparently the girl's already seeing someone else, and that is that is one of the worst pains you can experience. And I've been through that myself. And yeah, it's incredibly traumatizing, especially if you are still very, very attached to that person. So he says, "Hi Calgan, thanks for your help with helping people like me going through this terrible time." Well, it's fine. It's helping me as well. I'm going through my own stuff as well, emotionally, but no problem. I'm glad I can even help one person. He says, "I was with my girl for only 5.5 months." Okay, so not a huge amount of time, but still enough time to develop, a connection with that person. But we were friends for 6 months before we started dating. So really a year all up, because whether you were friends before you were dating and stuff, you've still been building that connection to that person and that attachment. So about, almost a year here. He says, "I am 30 and she is 22. Okay, so 8 years is not a massive difference really in age, but 22 is quite a fickle age. There's a lot going on in your life at that time, a lot of social events, perhaps career paths haven't been set, social groups can change regularly, all of that sort of thing. So yeah, 22 is a difficult age to get through a serious relationship." He says she had just come out of a 2-year relationship when we started dating. All right, well, that's okay, but how long has it been? How long has it been since she's been out of that other relationship? I mean, if it's only been a matter of a couple of weeks, 2 years is quite a long time. So she would still have a lot of emotional attachment to that other guy, and perhaps he's still hanging around on the scene. So you don't say how long it's been, but that certainly has a bearing on it. He says, "But our relationship was great. We had fun, we had quiet nights in, we never fought." Well, that's kind of not surprising, because in a 6 month relationship, if you straight away fighting and arguing within that first 6 months, that's probably not a good sign. After 4, 5, 6 months, you might actually start to have a few disagreements, but to say we never fought, that's fair enough. But she was understandably distant for a while because she had just broken up with her ex of 2 years. Okay, so that's, you mentioned that again, and like I said, it has a big bearing on what's going on for you, especially depending on how long she's been out of that other relationship. "About 3 weeks ago, for no reason that I can comprehend, she broke it off with me after a week of needing space." Okay, well, when people say they need space, a lot of the time the other person will start to panic a bit and give them less space. Is that what happened for you? Also, when you say, "for no reason that I can comprehend," well, people say things happen for a reason. I always say there's a reason that things are happening. So one thing you need to reflect on is what sort of things may you have done to bring it to that point. Were you jealous? Were you overbearing? Were you clingy? Were you needy? Did you make her the center of your world? Were you too available to her? Did you always try and fix her problems instead of just listening to her with her problems? Have a think about some of those things on your part, okay, as to what may have caused this breakup to happen. You do here, though, go on to say she gave reasons, there you go, like we're not on the same path, and doesn't like that I don't have a full-on career. Maybe it's a money thing. Well, look, when someone's in love with someone, the money thing is it's definitely one of the bigger issues in relationships and life in general. But the right person would probably stick by you and support you in finding a good career, not just up and leave you because you don't have a career. That does happen a lot, but people like that, I think, are a little bit shallow and not looking deep enough inside themselves for happiness. That pursuit of money, that pursuit of career, it's going to be an ongoing thing because once you achieve what you want, you know what I mean? What do you do once you get there? So, and again, the right person would support you, to find a good career. So I'm not sure it's a money thing. It's probably more of something you've done to alter the way she feels about you. Like I said, that list before, were you jealous, clingy, overbearing, maybe some of that sort of stuff. It says, is it possible that I was her rebound? I asked this because while she told me that she needed to do her own thing and find herself, I find out that she's already seeing somebody else regularly. A guy that her mother has been trying to set her up with for years. Okay, well, is it possible that I was her rebound? Yes, that's definitely possible. Again, depending on how long she was out of that 2-year relationship, she still would have had mixed feelings about that, I'm sure. The new relationship with you was new and fresh and euphoric and gave her a relief from all of that stuff and maybe helped her to move through those emotions. You also didn't really say who broke up with who. Did she break up with him or did he break up with her? That also has a big bearing on it. But the fact that she's already seeing somebody else regularly, this shows a bit of a recurring pattern as well, where she'll be in a relationship and enjoying that, but then when something else comes along that's maybe a bit newer, makes her question things about the relationship she's in, she sort of transitions fairly quickly from one to the other. She did it from the last guy to you, she's done it from you to this guy, and look, the chances are there that she'll do the same thing again to him once that relationship gets a bit further down the track. She texted me every other day after our breakup, so I implemented no contact, which seemed to surprise her and said that it made her sad, but I'm terrified that she won't ever call me. Well, she texted me every other day after the breakup. Yeah, well, that's a little bit what's called breadcrumbing, and it's just her going through her own separation anxiety from the relationship she's just come out with you. But it's also a little bit unfair, especially that she's seeing this other guy, because I know on the other side of things, it just keeps you hanging on. It keeps you hanging on to false hope. She's texting me, she's missing me, all of that sort of thing, but she's seeing someone else. In that case, I think it's important to look at her actions rather than the words that she's saying. I mean, the action that she's texting you every other day means that she's thinking about you and probably still questioning the new relationship that in some ways it sounds a little bit like she's been forced into by her mother. If her mother's been trying to set her up with that guy for years, there may be an element that she's gone into that just trying to please the mother in some ways, which is not going to be not going to be that good, really. You said you implemented no contact. Okay, so no contact doesn't really mean just cutting them out and shutting them out, although in this case you've got every right to do that because she's seeing this other guy. But no contact basically means not reaching out to them because they've broken up with you. So by not reaching out to them, you're respecting their decision, but also you're sort of stopping yourself doing any further damage, like begging or pleading or pushing them away further or making them angry. So it's good that you've implemented that. And you say, I'm terrified that she won't ever call me. Well, that's also a part of going no contact is you don't really go no contact and then sort of sit there and wait for them hoping that they're going to call. But, look, I understand that is a huge element of it because you cut that person off and you're going into this massive withdrawal and you know, you go through this withdrawal and you miss them and it hurts terribly and stuff. But the other side of that is to stay in contact with that person, and that can just drag it out for longer and longer. It prolongs your healing, okay? So no contact is more about not reaching out to them because you're respecting their decision and giving them the time and space to, you know, figure it out on their own, sort of thing. All right, but here you say, we run into each other at work sometimes, and she brought up the relationship just to say sorry for how she broke up with me. All right, well, if you work together, it's going to be difficult to stay complete no contact, and we'll say something about that in a little bit. That's when I asked her if she's already dating somebody, which she admitted to. She seemed to miss me. Apparently, she's happy with the new guy. Well, it's only a new thing, and again, this is her pattern of coping with when a relationship she's in starts to go a bit sideways. You know, she transitions to something that's new and shiny and exciting, and then when that starts to go a bit sideways, she does it again. And that, as a recurring pattern, is something that she's always going to be chasing. Okay. You say she still has the keys to my apartment. Mm-hmm. A bunch of clothes at my house and a very nice bicycle I got her. Okay. Does that mean anything? She did throw out the maybe someday we can try it again, or was she just being nice? Well, I would say she's probably just trying to soften the blow for you and for herself as well, because a lot of the time when people break up with someone, they feel guilty about hurting that person. Maybe someday we can try it again. Well, I tell you, as long as two people are alive on the planet, you know, that there is a chance that it'll come back together, but it's not going to be in the format or the way that you would probably hope. Uh, you say, I know I need to better myself, and I do. I'm going to the gym and trying to write music. Okay, that's great stuff. Going to the gym is important, diet is important, try to sleep as much as you can. And I don't, by that I don't mean lay in bed all day, I just mean get the appropriate amount of sleep because when we are tired, we get emotional, and it's important for our brains and our system to have that rest and enough of it too. Going to the gym, but this is all external stuff. The pain of this breakup, because you go on to say here, I miss her so much it hurts. And yes, it does. It hurts. I'm sorry. There's no words that I can say that are going to alleviate that pain. Maybe I can say something that'll alleviate it in that moment, but that emotional pain, it takes time to work that out of your system. But I miss her so much it hurts. My friend, I'm I'm right there with you. I know exactly what you mean. I can't sleep at night and I don't eat much anymore. Okay, well, this is what I was just talking about. I know it's difficult. For the sleep, I've been taking valerian, which is a natural sleep aid, and I find that to be quite helpful when I get home at night and I just have a cup of chamomile tea, which is calming, and some valerian, and that seems to help me get down. Okay, and I don't eat much anymore. Well, yeah, I know what it's like. Your body rejects food, but try to eat good food, you know, salad. Try and eat some soup if you can, anything like that to get something into your body, but water as well, fresh bottled water or filtered water is also, you've got to keep hydrated. Your body is going to need fuel to get you through this, basically. All I can think of is her. Yeah, that's the ruminating. That's your brain now trying to process. You know, when you're with someone, especially for any amount of time, like a year in this case, I would say, your brain forms neural pathways that go in the direction of that person, okay? And you get used to that every day. If that person's there, you can call them, you can text them, you know, you go and do things with them. So your brain, doing something like that every day, your brain forms habits or these neural pathways. When that's suddenly not there anymore, the pathways are still building and going that way, and you're going, but hang on, they've gone. It takes time and a bit of practice to start rewiring your brain. It'll do it naturally as the days go by because life keeps going on and you've got to keep doing day-to-day things. And so your brain will slowly start to rewire itself off in that other direction. I also did another video on this channel called Obsessing about the ex-partner. So that'd be worth having a look at as well. That will also help you to understand why all I can think about is her. But again, I'm right there with you, mate. I know what it's like. It's taken me what seems like an age to get rid of the memories, not just her, but the memories of everything we did, everything we had, all of that sort of stuff. You say, luckily I'm a decent enough actor so that when I see her, I'm able to seem that I'm doing fine. Yeah, I think that's good. Fake it till you make it, because the other side of that is when you see her and you say, oh, I'm suffering badly, you know, and I'm in lots of pain and I'm not eating and I'm not sleeping. That's not going to put you up in a more attractive light, and in some ways it justifies her decision because she looks at that and internally thinks, oh, you know, and then starts to think, well, I'm glad I broke up with that guy because he's really, really just weak and needy and stuff. So it's good that you can seem fine, and eventually you will be fine. You won't have to act it anymore. You say, please help me. What do I do? I'm so afraid that this new guy is somebody that she thinks she'll fall in love with because of her mum's influence. Was I her rebound from her previous relationship, and now this new one will be her real deal? Okay, well, the first thing is you can't really know, okay? So it might be, and again, she seems to have this pattern of looking for a new relationship when the old one gets a bit stale, okay? So let's go through a couple of things that might be able to help you, okay? Now, the first thing is, like you said, you went into no contact, and that's a good thing, but because you work together, it's probably going to be more of a sort of a style of light contact, which means when you do see her at work, yes, try to be upbeat, stay upbeat, be polite, but be short, you know, don't try and corner her or start talking to her about her new relationship or the breakup that you guys have had or anything like that. Just be cordial, treat her like anyone else at work, basically. So that's going to be sort of light contact rather than full no contact, okay? Let her see that you're doing well. You know, keep going to the gym, keep working out, put some goals in place, do well at work, maybe look into some social events that you can go to, and let her see you doing that. Because I can promise you this: whether her new relationship is a rebound or not, the honeymoon period wears off, and that's where the rubber hits the road. That's where people in relationship have to put in some work if they want to continue it, you know. So you do your work now. She'll have this honeymoon period, and then see what happens down the track. Okay. Now the other important thing is stay away from their relationship, and by that I mean, you know, like I said, don't go asking her about it. Don't go asking her about him. You know, and in a lot of cases, especially with men, they can get sort of jealous and they can get angry. Oh, you know, I'm going to go and beat that guy up and cause all sorts of trouble. Do not do that, right? For a couple of reasons. Firstly, the new guy, I mean, he may not even know about you. You don't know what she's told him. He might think she's been single for 6 months. So in that respect, it's got nothing really to do with him. The other thing is if you go in there and try and, you know, do something, beat him up or have an argument with him or something, it's only going to put you in a sort of a negative light all round, and you won't feel better after it. Stay away from that relationship. Let it run its own course. You know what I mean? They're obviously in the honeymoon period now, but that honeymoon period's not going to go on and on and on forever, and you're better off just to let that run its course. Let that guy make his own mistakes. You've got to focus on yourself now. Like we said, keep going to the gym. get some good food into you, do well at work, and try and do some social stuff as well, right? These are all natural antidepressants that I've mentioned in another video, and I might do another video on that a bit later on down the track, okay? Now, you mentioned that she's still got the keys to your apartment and clothes there. Okay, well, to be honest, I would try and sort that out as soon as you can. Get the keys to your apartment, especially. You're going to need those anyway. And as far as her clothes are concerned, I would get those out of there as well. Um, you know, maybe you could even put them into a bag or a box or something, and bring them to her at work and say, "Here's your clothes back." You know, there's no need for her to really come to the apartment and pick them up. Um, so, but get them out of there. The other option is you could box them up and until she sort of brings it up and mentions them. But to be honest, I would sort of get that over and done with. Yeah. But definitely you want to ask her for the keys back, because the keys are obviously, you know, something important, and you might need that spare set of keys. So get those things sorted out as quickly as you possible, right? And to your biggest question, was I her rebound from the previous relationship, and is this new guy the real deal? I would say that you probably were a bit of a rebound from that previous relationship. Again, the two biggest factors are how long has she been out of it and who broke up with who. Please don't tell me it was mutual, because a mutual breakup is like as rare as dinosaur feet. You know, there's always one person that's probably more upset than the other. So, you know, but again, you did your best, and it may have worked out, and it obviously hasn't. But because of what happened just before that, yeah, you probably were a bit of a rebound for her. And I would probably say the same thing about this new relationship as well. It's probably a double rebound from you and the previous ex-boyfriend. But as to your question, will this new relationship be the real deal? It's hard to say. With relationships the way they are these days, you know, the chances are greater that they'll probably break up at some stage. I hate, I hate to be cynical or negative. I mean, I don't like breakups at all. They're horrible, brutal things. But with the way the world is today, the chances are probably greater that they'll break up at some stage rather than stay together forever. However, it's so important that you do not wait around hoping that they're going to break up or trying to do things to break them up. You need to focus on you now. Let them do their thing. Again, it sounds a little bit like she has this recurring pattern, but it also sounds a bit like she's gone into that relationship to appease her mother in some ways. So, you know, I wouldn't be too sort of excited about that, that's for sure. So, yes, stay light contact, be polite, you know, do your best to just take care of yourself. Let her see that over time. In the next sort of month or so, hopefully you'll be doing better. Stay away from their relationship. You know, don't go in there trying to sabotage it or ask her about it, or, you know, say things like, "What's he got that I don't have?" That sort of thing. Get your keys back and sort the clothes out, I would say, and don't worry about their relationship. It probably is a rebound, but the most important thing is don't sort of wait around hoping for it to end or anything like that. Just let it run its own course. And don't be too available for her. Don't sort of be waiting on the sidelines. Every time they have an argument or a bad day, she can reach out to you for comfort. Don't do that, because that will just help her transition into the new relationship. She needs to feel that you've gone, you know. She broke up with you, she's seeing this other guy. There's got to be consequences to that, and a consequence of that is she doesn't get to use you as an emotional support anymore. That's his job now, and, you know, like I say, they'll have days where they have arguments or bad days, and if she feels that she can reach out to you, then she'll feel better, and she'll just go back to him. So do your best to not let that happen. All right, buddy, look, I hope that helps, and anyone else that's watching this, I hope it helps you as well. Breakups are horrible, brutal, you know, sucky things, basically. But if it helps even one person, I'm glad I've put it up. I've got some resources down below in the notes. I put my email there if you want to send me an email summary of your situation. I'll take a look at that for free. But in the meantime, oh, and also hit the subscribe button and put a like on the video. That helps to get the content out to some other people that may need it. But in the meantime, please take care of yourself, your heart, and your health.